Hey everybody, it's P. Turner, executive producer and host of your Break It Down show with another fantastic episode. So look, first off, I hope everybody's enjoying the holidays. Slow down, really try to appreciate one another. I've been reading some great books from folks who lived 100, 150, 200 years ago, and I'm just always impressed how hard it was to just survive, to get ahead, to do anything. Take a look around, take some stock, take some inventory, take a deep breath, and just think, man, this is really great to have, and just be grateful, and just to have the family or these opportunities or whatever it is. Try to appreciate that, which is sort of on theme with today's episode. Old friend and someone that I love to have on and anytime possible is Johnny Walker, and he brings on with him a just recently retired Special Forces operator named Juan Mata, and we talk about what Juan's role is now that he's had these millions of dollars invested in him as a warrior. He's like, how can I pass this on? How do I help other people get something from these skills now that I'm done doing this for the government? So among the things he says is look, you can't rely on the police. You have to be able to protect yourself and your loved ones. This is part of your overall package of fitness and preparedness. Now, I think he's right with that. He also talks about what it means to be deployed and then also home here in America. We often are so hard on ourselves here. And he makes a great example. He's like, look at us here. He's Mexican. I'm a white guy. Johnny Walker is this guy from Iraq. He's like, and we're all here together getting along because we can do this. So if you're feeling like, we're so divided, so different, give a listen to this episode, because you're going to hear a lot of positive messages on the opportunities that we do have here, and to really look at those things and appreciate what they are. Plus, it's Johnny Walker, and Juan is cool as hell too. I love it. I love episodes like this where we just slow down for a minute and just kind of appreciate all of the things that are done for us in the blind. I mean, this guy's a special operations Green Beret, right? And they've done all this work to create a better place, even if it doesn't directly impact our safety and security here, which it does. But let's just say that, look at what you're doing abroad, where those guys, their motto is to eliminate oppression in other places as well. And so they take that, and that's the kind of country we have that goes out and does their best to help another country develop capacity to protect themselves, to increase stability. I mean, Jordan, in our lifetimes, my lifetime, has become a radically different place because of the partnership that we've had with them as a country. You look at the relations that have improved in the last 6 months with Israel and most of the Mideast, or a lot of the Mideastern countries. This is in part because we have such a fantastic negotiating position with a lot of these countries. Anyhow, enough about that stuff. Save the Brave, savethebrave.org. We got mugs. Let me know if you want one. Contribute a little bit of money, and I'm glad to send you that mug. All right, one more thing to say to you, and you're going to love this. It's how about Johnny Walker and Juan Mata.
Lions Rock Productions.
This is Jay Moore.
This is Greg Cruz.
This is Bryce Vine.
This is Dexter from The Offspring.
This is Nathan
This
East.
is Sebastian Younger.
This is Daryl Amy.
This is Stuart Copeland.
This is Mick Gillette.
This is Andy Summers.
This is Dr. Bob Greenberg.
This is Gabby Reese.
This is Rob Bell.
Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero.
Hey, and this is Pete A. Turner.
This is Juan Mata, and you're watching the Break It Down Show.
And now, the Break It Down Show with John Leon Guerrero and Pete A. Turner.
It's like Mother Tuscadero would do. And then you shoot. I'm not sure my wrist.
How was that draw? I don't know.
Yeah, we just got done shooting guns in an unknown location with a badass SF Sergeant Major, Green Beret, if you want to call him. Thanks for taking us out shooting, man.
Yeah, of course. Anytime.
And of course we have, look at this guy, Johnny Walker. And we're not going to talk politics, right, Johnny?
No.
All right, good.
Except we support Trump.
There's your plug. Vote for however you want. All right. So you were just retired.
Yes.
How is it so far?
How is it? It is a life-changing experience. So you go from the comfort of spending the last 20 years and knowing that you're going to get a paycheck every day, and then that security blanket's gone. So whole different set of stressors. Yeah. But it's all good.
Why'd you give it up?
Why'd I give it? It was time. My body, after 20 years, just kind of let me know that it was time to go.
Yeah. I mean, you're young and you got a long time to go still, and you need that body to hold up.
Yeah.
I wish I would have stopped earlier. My body is fucked.
So everybody's everybody that serves is going to have some damage. So it's just, it affects people differently, right?
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, if you don't mind, I'm asking the question. What's your advice for a brother and sister when they can finish the Army, Navy chapter and they can move to a new adventure?
Mm-hmm.
What do you advise them?
Easy. It's just be you. The military, the government invested so much money in training and into you. So take that and apply it to the civilian world. You don't, I had a misconception that I thought I was going to have to change who I was in order to be somebody different in the civilian world. And that's not true at all. It wasn't planned that way. I didn't choose this route for me, but I stayed true to who I was, and that's what's making me successful now.
Family understanding and support, do you think is very important too for your transition from Army to civilian?
Because, people don't understand that, but your wife or significant other, whatever you want to say, my wife was with me for 14 years in the military.
Yeah.
So she left that too. So she left that community as well. So she's going through her own stressors and her own struggles leaving that community as well. So that becomes even more important to be there. If you're married, then you got to support each other, right? Marriage is team. So it's even more important when it comes to a critical move like transitioning out of the military.
When you bring someone into the special operations community as a spouse, you really just yank them out of reality. They don't really get to have a career for the most part.
Right.
They're sort of obligated to be in some way involved with the unit, with people that they wouldn't normally choose as friends.
Right.
They may become friends, but maybe not.
Yeah.
You got family members to look after, and then you guys are gone all the time. And so they're managing a whole household by themselves, and sometimes it's more than one person can. It's a lot that a military spouse has to do. When did you become aware of that as a service member? I mean, you're doing impossible stuff. You have to be totally focused, and yet there's your wife back there, taking care of business.
I'm not going to. I knew it before going in.
Okay.
As a young soldier, looking up to all of those senior guys, and you looked at the divorce rate and you kind of say, wow, what is happening here? And you take those lessons learned. So I was very fortunate that I got good mentorship from senior leaders, and they kind of gave me some of the criteria to look for when selecting. Like, you need somebody that's strong, you need somebody that's assertive, you need somebody that's going to be able to take care of you and your family and your affairs when you're not there. And you also got to be aware that when you get back from that deployment, you don't just put your hand in the cookie jar and start taking things out. Like, you gotta. She's used to running things a certain way, so that trend, getting accustomed to each other.
Exactly, wanted to go here because as a sergeant major, as a leader. You got to look at your young guys, and by young, they might be 32 years old, not really young. And you got to be able to guide them and say, hey, listen, I know you're an alpha.
Yeah.
I know you've been dominating everything you've been touching in near the last 6 months. But now, not only are you not a beta, you're like an omega. You are at the very back end of the household, because it's not your household. Yeah. It's her household. Yeah. How do you get alphas to back that far off so that they can fit in?
I love it. So, well, first, let me set the record straight for everybody. Johnny likes to call me Sergeant Major, but I'm actually a retired Master Sergeant.
Oh, okay.
I was
my bad.
Yeah, I was filling
you called him a Sergeant Major?
No,
from day one.
Well, we're promoting you on. I'm gonna frock you.
There you
Break
go.
it down, show.
No, I was very fortunate being the NCOIC of the Special Operations.
I
Training
remember one
Detachment.
time I said Sergeant Major Juan, and everyone look at me. Who's Sergeant Major?
Yeah.
He's not.
Promoted, and Johnny's in my heart.
Exactly. So Johnny promotes me all the time. I don't correct him because I love Johnny.
I'm gonna make you a colonel.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah, fuck. I mean, if it's the value of personal opinion, I will make him fucking general. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There you go.
So,
but back to
yeah, please.
Yeah, back to that.
You still got young guys underneath you.
Yeah. So yeah, you got soldiers looking up to you either way, but it's kind of like when you go to the gym, right? Everybody says check, you go out the door.
Yeah.
You know, you just go in there. You're trying to make yourself better. It's the same thing when you get home. So she is an alpha, but I love the fact that I could go home and I don't have to think. I could just be a private. I could be Private Juan Mata, and I just right place, right time, right uniform, and I'm done thinking for the rest of the day, and she takes care of me. So I check my ego at the door. I'm not who I am at work. She has a name for that when I do step into that mentality. She calls it work Juan.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think one of the things, like with all what he said, is he have to have umbrella, because I know me. Sometimes we love to do our things in our way. We are weirdo. You know what I mean? This is not in our hand. But what is cover us, it's the love.
Mm.
The love is kind of the umbrella to make our wives forgive us when we act extra alpha, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to ask you, and let me just do you guys all the service here. So Juan is a Green Beret, has done a lot of crazy stuff overseas, and we'll get more into that. And if you don't know who Johnny Walker is, he's got a book called Codename Johnny Walker, and you should absolutely get it. I'll put that in the show notes. Yours truly is in a little bit of the book. Johnny was an Iraqi interpreter who found himself attached to SEALs and has been on more SEAL missions in the Iraqi theater than any SEAL, and is the only person I know of to ever be authorized by the SEALs to wear a trident on his chest and didn't go through buds. Was actually never in the Navy. And so it's to say that that's remarkable is underselling who Johnny is and what he does. So if you don't know Johnny, you're okay. He's still here. He's wonderful. There's a lot of shows we've talked to him in the past, but the main thing is just to know that we're really fortunate to have these two warriors sitting here because their experiences are truly remarkable. We talked a little bit about home life and what it's like to bring a spouse into the special operations community. We talked a little bit about how you treat a wife when you come back, or a spouse, I should say, when you come back from a deployment. But let's talk about deployments, because doctrinally, what special forces do is, FID. That's teach a foreign service how to be better. Okay. But you guys don't really get to do true FID all the time. Yeah, you're going to teach and train the Iraqi forces or the Afghan forces. And you also have your worldwide mission, like 5th Group services this area. So you may not even deploy to, you guys don't do that. So sometimes you're doing a more traditional FID. Sometimes you're doing counterinsurgency. How does someone stay proficient at all of that stuff? I mean, it's a lot.
So it is, and you have to take everything in small bites, right? So that next deployment that's coming up in front of you, you train specifically for that deployment and what you see is going to be the left and right limits of that. You mentioned FID as foreign internal defense, but my brain isn't up in the clouds, right? There's big thinkers that define and they give labels to all this stuff, but as easy as it is for me to explain it, is you find a hole and you fix it, right? So at the lowest levels, I'm just finding the holes and what is going on around me, and I'm just fixing it. I've been trained to think, so I'm going to go into that environment, and I'm going to see how am I to make this place better, and that's it.
One of my favorite questions to ask all operators, and I include myself in that environment because I've worked with you guys, and you operate with operators, you're an operator. Have you fired more rounds or had more conversations while deployed?
You got, how do I want to say it? So there's a time and a place for everything, right?
Yeah.
You have to fire rounds when you no longer have the means of negotiation, right? But that being said, got 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth, man. And those are the tools that I use as my primary and my alternates, that firearm and those weapon systems. So I use these tools a lot more than I do anything else. And
that's almost universally what every operator has said. We get this impression that combat is this constant pitched battle, but a lot of that battle, and this, is mental. The second question I always ask with this is, we know we have more conversations, but there's no specific like professional standard for how to work an interpreter. And we don't spend the same kind of time or attention. Like you could take me to the range with my pistol and give me doctrinal answers to make me a better shooter. You know, figure one, do this, put your thumb here. If I took you into the field and said, I'm going to make you a better conversationalist based on doctrine, we wouldn't be able to do any training.
Right.
Isn't that bonkers?
It is. I've been fortunate. I'm sure you have too. So we have taken different approaches, and we have attempted to learn from subject matter experts on what is it like. How do we set the environment to have a conversation, and we start there and go all the way through it. You know, how do we talk to each other? So they are focusing on those tools because you just lessons learned. You know, how do we become more effective at that? So we are getting there. It is something that's recognized, but it's just the stuff. You don't see it every day. You don't see it in the news. That's not what people talk about. That's not what grabs your attention.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So nobody sees the time and effort that Green Berets trained to either speak the language themselves. They don't talk about the 6 months that we spent in language school.
Yeah.
They talk about the time that we spent on the range learning how to shoot everything from a 22 to a, field artillery. So that's what's cool. That's what gets people to pay attention.
Jumping out of a helicopter into water to, work on scuba skills or something like that. Right. That's super sexy.
Right.
Sitting down on a pillow on a floor in a foreign country in civilian clothes, trying to learn how to build trust. Yeah. If you get the chance to do that,
right?
It's sexy it's fun for us, but it's not something you're like, oh yeah. Yeah, I went to Azerbaijan and I sat down and I just worked on building trust.
Right. And Johnny could tell you, how many times I've sit there and been overhydrated because I'm going from meeting to meeting, drinking a cup of chai each time because that's customary. And so you want to respect the culture. You want to take that glass of chai, even though you're kind of full to capacity. But you are,
good Iraqi chai
full of sugar. Sugar and snacks. But you do it. That's the job.
One of the favorite things I love to teach someone about culture if they're going to go somewhere and do these kind of things is, how do you turn off the chai wherever you're at? How do you get the person? How do you respectfully drink enough? But you're like, I don't want any more. And because it's different everywhere. You might say, oh, it's okay, no thanks. You might not do that somewhere.
Right.
And so it's one of the questions I love to ask someone. I'm like, I want to drink chai, but I don't know how to say no. How do I do that? And then they're like, oh, let me tell you how we do it. Here's how we do it here. First off, Iraqi chai, the spoon will stand up because there's so much sugar. Like you have to learn all these things. And when you say
details.
That back to them, they love it, because it shows that you respect your culture.
You care about culture, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But you don't learn that in a military classroom.
Right.
It's through the experience and everything. What's something that you picked up along the way, where other country you're in, that you're like, God, I got to remember this is a good tool for me to use wherever I go?
Wow.
Like not a book answer, but like an experience answer.
Yeah, that is a hard question because there's no magic pill or potion. There's just hard work, and what happens in one place doesn't always carry over to the next. But I think it's the one lesson is, we just talked about it, so that's my easy answer out, is to try to learn the culture and try to respect the culture. And if you do that in each environment, it seems that people are just so appreciative of your ability to attempt to learn what makes them tick, right? So if I'm going to take one thing around the world, it's going to be that is, look, listen, see what they're doing, and try to respect that and their values. And that's going to start to open the door up a lot quicker than anything else.
I think I'm going to put it in the same frame, but from my experience.
Yeah.
Imagine if first time when I work with military police, they treat me shit. Move to the SEALs, treat me shit. I'm going to be fucking ISS.
Yeah.
But instead of that, they found the right key. They respect me as a human.
Yeah.
They trust me. And I became who I am. You know what I mean? So I think the frame is be smart when you trust people and respect them. You know what I mean? Because You go into that country target. You go into his house. You have to respect him. You have to show him smart respect, like we said. And this is kind of give you opportunity to give them luxury lesson that we came here to help. We didn't came here to hurt you on personal level.
Yeah.
And that's why most of the sniper mission we had, always the family of the target house, the sniper mission house, they bugging us, please stay, stay, stay. And this is one of the lessons we learned, all of us as a team. We want to make change. We don't want to kill if we don't have to, but we want to make change. So, like he said, culture, respect, and trust people, smart trust. I don't want some jackass go and trust someone and fucking he sell him in one of the coffee shop in Fallujah.
Yeah.
So
I want to ask you, Johnny, because you've gone from the Iraqi culture into kind of an in-between, working with us in a dangerous place. You guys have no idea how crazy Johnny's life was. But what do you miss about Iraqi culture that you just can't get here? What's not the same?
I miss nothing.
Nothing.
I have
not
it with,
Samoon, not Moscow.
I have it with me. You know where I live.
Yeah.
We have everything.
So nothing, huh?
Nothing. And
if I want to jump in too, because that's what I love and appreciate about this country, right? It's, I joke because I'm Mexican descent. We say the tortilla didn't get stuck on the wall coming over here. So we brought our culture with us, right? Johnny's bringing his culture with us. And the United States provides an environment where those cultures, the best of it, can flourish.
Exactly.
Here. So you don't
miss nothing.
Yeah, you don't have to leave.
Your family with you. And also in my experience, you know, when I work with American forces, I stay like 6 months, the last 5 years, from 2003 to 2009. 6 months I stay in the base and couple weeks stay with the family. So basically it's look like adjustment myself to the new environment.
Yeah.
But my wife and my family, when they came here first, they struggle a lot.
You guys should listen to Beta Walker episode. I'll put it in the show notes. It's incredible. It's like, what does the crazy war hero's wife, who's like running the household by herself in a place where people show up dead at the 7-Eleven and your kid has to go to step over the dead person. Her life was insane. Yeah. And you guys should check that episode out. I wanted to talk about trust because, Johnny, you bring this up, like it has to be a smart trust. I like to talk about testing for trust. Like, you know, if I extend a little bit of, and as a norm, Americans are over trusting. I learned that from people like you saying you trust too much. So how do you put a little bit of trust out? Like, hey, can you show up at a certain time? But also respect the fact that, like someone like you, like when you and I were working together, it was extraordinarily dangerous for Johnny to even come to the camp. Any association with the Americans, perceived or not, people would put their ID in their shoe so that they wouldn't pull out the wrong ID. It was very, very dangerous. And so Johnny would disappear for weeks on end. And because we told him, I said, don't show up if it's going to be dangerous for you. And so he would stay home and take care of business because if we needed him, we could call him. But that meant that kind of like in the mob movies, when the mob guy disappears for a couple of weeks, you're like, is he still on our team or has he been turned? And in that environment, as much as I love Johnny, we had to understand, like, could we trust him? You know, and so we always did things to work on testing trust. Johnny never failed us, but you always, you know, it's too dangerous just to extend trust. Like if we just believed you, it wouldn't have been good enough. You could have come back on the camp. You know, we gave you special access to things. You know, it's too much. How do you guys build trust at a level? Like SEALs gave Johnny a gun to go on patrols, right? That's extraordinary trust. How do you build that? How do you test for it to know you have it?
So, I don't know. I mean, for me, I have no idea. I didn't admit it to build the trust. I just did my job. You know what I mean? And I know, and one of the things, I'm not going to correct it, but I'm just going to put it in different definition. I didn't build the trust for you because we are partner.
Yeah.
And I didn't fight for you because this is kind of, can I divide the country, American, Iraqi? No, I fight for my country. I fight for Iraqi innocent people and human innocent people everywhere because I know those savages, if they run the country, it's going to be disaster. So anyway, at the beginning, I have no idea whose people I work with, but all what I did what I think is right to my people. Like, remember, we use code. If I get captured and they force me to call you, I'm going to use Dipshi, which is Watermelon. And this is like extreme trust of level. And I put it in front of me when, as a human, you ask yourself a lot. If something happened, are you going to take shot for your brother? It's take me a few seconds, but end of it, yes, I'll do it. Because the band we built between us is huge. Like me and you, we went to north of Iraq. At the way back, we stuck at the checkpoint.
Yeah.
And I can't just leave you alone.
Yeah.
It's fucking, we are about to kill people.
Story. Yeah.
We are about to kill people, you know what I mean? And maybe they are innocent to survive.
Right.
But I did not, because I know you depend on me and we consider family. So I think part of the trust is if that person believe what he's doing. So the belief
that story is crazy, by the way. And I will tell it again some other time. But yeah, it's I don't know how many times in 10 does a gunfight break out in that situation. I mean, we were fortunate to have you there. You were so good at talking, but it could have been a bad checkpoint. It could have been anything,
I think because of you guys feed me so good kebab.
How do you build trust?
Small incremental steps and trust but verify. Trust but verify.
Yeah. Small, low risk trust. Small, slightly bigger risk trust.
Oh,
Yeah.
And
if they don't reciprocate that trust, you have to look for that exchange of trust,
That's why we said smart trust.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not a concept. Again, that's taught very well. And it's something that we have to learn sitting next to someone who outranks you and watching them and just shutting your mouth. I mean, I don't know how it was for you guys, but for a lot of us young spies coming up, you mostly sat and watched for your first couple of years, Maybe you got a meeting every 3 meetings or so that you ran, but for the most part, you had to learn from what was going on, what was being exchanged. Is that how you guys sort of did it too, or?
No, because as you go through the training pipeline, you're expected to perform your job at that basic level. Mm-hmm. So you got to be ready to go. However, to back it up, in the training though, they make you. The goal is to make you comfortable in uncomfortable situations, right?
Yeah.
So they do kind of train you to, hey, use your best judgment about you. But at the end of the day, once you let go of that lifeline, you let go of it. So you gotta continue to do what it is that you're doing. And a lot of people have trouble with that and living a life that doesn't have a safety line attached to it. So some people aren't successful in our field because of it.
How dangerous is what you do, like when you were in?
So when people say be safe, I kind of chuckle in the back of my head every time because my job isn't to be safe. The American people aren't paying me to be safe.
Right.
They're paying me to
do my job.
Yeah, to make calculated steps, right? But to always be out there and assume risk.
There you go.
Yeah, and to assume risk. So I lost my train of thought, but at the end of the day, my job was very dangerous, right? I think there was things out there that were a lot more dangerous than mine because of the level of training that we had helped mitigate some of those risks.
It's weird. We talk about the dangerous things. If you don't mind, I'm jumping in. We talk about culture, different culture.
Yeah.
So first time when I work with SEALs, in that time, you remember the phone.
Yeah.
There is no dictionary in the phone. And SEAL is like, what the fuck, SEAL?
Yeah.
So I went to the fucking book dictionary.
Right.
And I found this fucking sea animal.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Make no sense. So anyway, it's so crazy. Like we had to conduct mission.
Yeah.
And I saw everyone fucking smoke cigar and listen to the music. It looked like we're going to the party.
Yeah.
We are not going to the death. I couldn't get it.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I didn't get it. It's like, what the fuck is going on? I should fucking think, smoke and how I can save my ass, But after, like Juan, he said, the high level of training, you have it, build confidence in yourself in every step, team brotherhood. And also, I figure out when I'm going to die, I'm going to die. Nothing can change. I'm going to be careful, but I'm not going to be panic about it.
This episode of the Break It Down Show is brought to you by Lions Rock Productions.
That's us.
We publish, evaluate, and develop podcasts just like this one, consult others to build their own, and create associated content and content marketing strategies.
So if you're launching or expanding your social media presence, your business or your personal brand, or if you just want to take your media presence to the next level,
reach out to us on Twitter
at Pete A. Turner
or at JohnLG69
at the Break It Down Show.
There's 1,000 ways to get a hold of us.
Now enjoy the show.
But I'm not going to be panic about it. So
yeah, certain things for guys like us, like COVID, I respect it. It's like a handgun. I respect it. Treat it with respect. Don't be goofy with it. And then hopefully everything works out all right. Rely on those things. I wanted to, you're right on the danger thing. Like our job is to, once you step off, we've already made the decision to go into this dangerous place. And as I've gotten older and I've kind of reflected on all the things that I've done, 1,000 combat missions, right? That number is ridiculous. And I realize my job was really, really dangerous. I would go out. So here's the thing for the audience. I would go out. Let's say I meet up with Juan and his team. They don't know me. And then I'll give Juan like the secret handshake and I'll say, here's what I'm going to do. And you guys are like, yeah, cool. And maybe they assign someone to stand next to me. And Johnny and I are just 100% focused on a conversation. And as you know, the conversation requires 100% focus. So if something happens, anything at all, I'm unaware for like almost the entire time until it's like, oh, we're in a firefight, So I've got to rely on someone else to have my back, while I'm 100% focused on what Johnny and I are doing, which is exceptionally hard to do, what we do. And then the enemy has a say, So there was a time when the Taliban called a meeting and they said, we want Pete and Rich to come to this meeting. No one told me this. I just got invited to a meeting. Hey, come over to the meeting. We're all going to hang out, right? And so we don't know these things. Like this was one of the times when, the curtain was moved and someone's like, hey, by the way, the Taliban was in that meeting and they wanted to check you guys out. How many of those meetings did you go to in your career and not know? And it's like, because you were chilled, because you respected, that's what happened with us. They said, these guys are respected. They're scholars. These guys are okay to operate in this area. We got approved by the Taliban to operate. That kind of thing, the enemy wants to know who we are, Another thing I want to ask you about too is like when we talk, and it's not a political conversation, but when we talk about the Russians having a bounty on our head, as a collector, I'm like, that's a KPI. That means when they say we're going to try to kill Pete, we're going to try to kill Johnny, and you're going to get paid $1,000. That is nothing new about that.
No.
It's almost silly, right? I was talking to my friend Chris. He's an SF guy, and we laughed for like 90 seconds straight as we both played reels in our own heads without talking to each other, and we're just like, it's ridiculous. You wouldn't bring that up to the president anyhow. Because here's what the president's going to do. Any president. Hey, Vladimir, are you putting bounties on our guys? I hear that you're doing that. No. Oh, okay. Bye, Vlad. And that's it. He's never going to admit to it. And we all know it happens. Is any of that wrong?
So, we won't say it's wrong. We won't say it's right either because of the medium in which we're having this conversation. However, since the beginning of time, that's what other countries and other people have been doing since the very beginning of it.
Yeah.
So to think that somebody is not doing it to us or that we're not actively doing it to somebody else, and I think that's naive.
Yeah. We literally took bounties out on people all of the time.
We consider in over here is wrong.
Yeah.
But in target country is right.
Yeah.
Because we did the same thing.
Yeah. One of your neighbors in Mosul got a bunch of money for turning in Saddam and those guys,
Yeah.
Millions of dollars, a bounty.
His sons.
In Mosul.
His sons, you're right. So this whole idea about danger and bounties and all that stuff, I just wanted to kind of cover it because what we do is dangerous. You aren't supposed to understand it because it's not that you're not in the club with us. We love you guys, but you just can't get it. We can't explain how dangerous it is because oftentimes we don't even know how dangerous it is, you know? And it also turns out that we're always constantly wrecking our bodies, you know?
Yeah.
Like you don't even think about that.
Yeah, I'll tell you a story. Actually in training, right, in the swamps of Florida, in the middle of the night, we're walking through the swamp, and I'm the first guy into the swamp, and it's, you know, the stereotypical chest high, got my, you know, weapon out of the water, and I'm sludging through it, and then the guy behind me is like, "Oh, what? Wait, look over there!" And I'm like, "Shut up, dude!" And then he's like, "Oh," and something swims away. We keep going, and "Oh, what?" And it's like, everybody, shut up. I don't want to know what's out here with me. I don't want to know how dangerous it is. I just want to get from point A to point B sometimes.
Yeah. I like, you know, this is saved me too, this kind of thinking from A to B. I call it male, from male to male.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, we had fucking big mission. What I do, I don't focus on the death, all this kind of injury, all this kind of things, family, all what I think, okay, we have meeting. I prepare for the meeting, which is, my language is fucked up. They hear only fuck. But anyway, after that, in the convoy, okay, how I can pull security if I am outside the Humvees, because always I said outside the Humvees. On the target, all this kind of like from step to step, I don't think further than the step. I think this is make it so easy and safer to me because it bring all the focusing in each steps than if I distract with human being feeling, worried about family, death, all this kind of things.
Before you met up with the MPs and got started with the Americans, were you a guy who was influential, like with your words? I don't mean like you were the president, but were you able to do, because you were excellent. I mean, I worked with a lot of interpreters, but I could give you the intention that I wanted to do. And I work with interpreters very differently than most service members. I give a lot of trust to Johnny. He's earned it. And so I'm like, here's what we're trying to find out. And then I would say, don't go in the front door, go in the side door. And you already got that. You know, like what that means is I don't say, where are the bombs? Like we don't start there. We have every conversation except for that. And the person's like, oh, by the way, there's bombs in the backyard. Did you learn how to do that, to be that compelling with people? Or did you always have the ability to influence people with your words?
I don't know. I mean, maybe because I am tall guy.
Yeah.
And start my life when I'm kid, like with the slingshot, fucking fight, do all this kind of things. I don't know. I mean, I love to learn since I am kids. I learn history, I learn religions to shape myself. I think this has helped me a lot. But I don't consider myself I can like take care of any situation I can, but I'll do my best. So.
But you got better at being a warrior, though.
I don't know about that.
No, you started out that good? Damn, kid. You're really good at that.
We're just doing our job. I mean...
Yeah, but you get better at your job as you go along. You understand the SEALs better. They understand you better. You did it for 5 years. You got better at it.
This is not something like anyone can do it. Trust me.
Yeah.
Anyone. Like if I bring 2 guys from the street now and teach him English...
Yeah.
And let him do what they do it. But the question is, did they have passion for that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Did they believe what they doing is right things? I think this is what's make me different because I have passion for my job and I believe what I'm doing is right.
You also had courage, though, and I'm going to ask you in a second. I worked with a lot of interpreters, and I would tell them, I probably told you, we're going out. We're going out every day. Our job is to be out with the military, without them. We need to go find things out. If you do not want to work hard, if you are afraid to go outside of the wire, it's okay. They got a lot of other jobs. But if you want to do something that's really going to make a difference, then come on, let's go. And I had interpreters look me straight in the face and be like, I want an office job. And that's totally fine because I wasn't playing around. We were going to be out. If not the sergeant major, says, Pete, grab your shit. We're going. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab my shit and I'm going to go. Right. And so when it comes to interpreters, when he says, anybody can do it. Do you buy that?
No. No, not one bit, because he's selling himself short. One, I think what Johnny has that isn't natural to a lot of people in the world is that intuition. So Johnny was very aware of his environment and knew exactly when something was out of place, and that's what helped him, and that's what helped the lives of so many others, was that intuition that Johnny had of operating there in Iraq. Not only that, but courage, right? That comes with the confidence and the trust and working with your teammates. So when anybody asks you, hey, Johnny, let's go. Well, Johnny had all the utmost faith and confidence in those guys that, they were operating at such a high level that he felt good to go and accompany him on that mission. It would be a lot different, I suppose, if Johnny was going out on these operations and these SEALs and these Special Forces soldiers and whoever the case may be weren't well and doing good in their jobs. If not, he's going to probably stop and say, hey, let me evaluate what the heck it is that I'm doing, because this is not smart and it's not safe.
I think one of the things also, like, complete to your opinion on it, is when I look at to my wife and she don't have life, she move from place to place, Mujahideen, because this is fucking weird. She is Shia, I am Sunni. So if Qaeda they capture, they kill her. If militia they capture because me and what I'm doing, they kill her. And she have the kids with her and facing everything. I have M4, I have the team, I have big gun, I have everything with me. She had nothing, only faith. And she faced it and she succeed. I think this is what's make me, when I look at to myself, is like, I'm doing nothing compared to those people, compared to your wife, compared to my wife, compared for those people, they are silent warrior. You know what I mean?
It's really true with your wife, especially. I mean, she moved all the time. And I asked her this question. I knew what the answer would be, but I asked it in a certain way so she could really come after it. And I said, how many times a month would you and your family's well-being be out of your hands? And then she laughs at me and goes, how many times a day? Right? And it's like, that's the point, right? Like the next 5 minutes wasn't guaranteed for her all the time. It's a crazy thing. What are you doing now? Like, what are you into?
So giving back, to those communities, we kind of spoke about it earlier. I'm continuing to be me. I'm continuing to be that person of the last 20 years. So the government had a lot of resources invested into me for my training, my education, my experience, and that just doesn't dissolve as I take off my uniform and now wearing civilian clothes. So what I am doing is I'm giving all those experiences and all those training back to our community, working with Johnny, staying involved, training special operations as they go out of the door to their next mission. But in the current environment, I looked at those that are providing security here in the country, and I started looking at avenues and how am I going to share my experiences, because those threats are exactly the same here in the United States that we saw overseas. So I'm working with law enforcement agencies here in the Southwest to give those experiences back to them and make them what we all want, a better trained and resourced law enforcement agencies. Right.
There's a lot of social chaos, which means that the police aren't always going to show up.
Right.
How does someone develop the capacity, we're not talking about to cause violence, but to protect their family, their homestead? What does that take? I'm not saying you have to pick any particular weapons, but financially, time-wise, what does it take to be prepared to say, no help's coming, I am the help, I am the cavalry?
So I love what you just said, because it goes all the way back to, and I love it, John F. Kennedy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ask not what your country could do for you, but what you could do for your country.
Right.
If you have the ability to make yourself secure, and now we're not relying on local or other government officials to provide that security for you, you're just making their job easier so that they could go after the bigger criminals, the bigger fish, right? They don't have to worry about this low-level petty stuff because you have that ability to take care of yourself. You ask, what does that mean? It doesn't mean much. You know how to drive.
Yeah.
What's the time and effort that was spent in order for you to get your driver's license? You did some studying, right? Then you maybe had a permit. So somebody was there driving with you, coaching you, training you to go through this experience. And then you were determined to be capable because you got a license or whatever it was. And then you were let loose to a certain extent on your own. And well, I don't know why that should be any different when it comes to your being liable for yourself, right? So get some education, get a little bit of training, and by professionals like myself and other people that could provide you with that, and then continue to practice those skills over and over again. And it's just a little bit every day that makes you a safer, more secure person.
Yeah. To have a go bag, know exactly what's in it, what state it's in, where everything is. Like, you can have a first aid kit, but if you haven't looked at it in 10 years, you may not have a first aid kit. You may have a box that has first
and
aid.
That's what I want to tell the people or anybody watching right now is our country's been at war for almost the last 20 years.
Crazy.
There are lots of lessons learned. There are lots of qualified people that could give you this education and training, not just myself. So you don't have to develop your go bag in a vacuum.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's people like Johnny and you and myself that knew exactly what we needed to pack in these things and what they should have, and how often you should revisit them and look at them. How often should you train on the items that you have inside that bag? You don't have to go out and try to come up with these ideas and these concepts for yourself. There are places like myself that you could go to and ask these questions.
Not the country what's offered to you, but what are you going to do to the country? I like that.
Yeah, it starts there, and I tell people, so there's tiers to the security professionals, right? There's that person that's just trying to maintain their own security. But once you have the ability to defend for yourself, another level of training, which is harder to do, is how do you help secure other people?
Right.
Who are those other? That's your family, right? Those are your neighbors. So if I'm secure, now my family is secure, now they know what to do and to defend themselves. Now that umbrella starts to go up, right, and starts to go out. So it's my family, it's my neighbors, it's my community, it's my city, it's my counties, and then it's your country. And it literally is. It starts with that person in the mirror saying, I'm going to take care of myself, right? And then after I do that, everybody's doing that, then we can start to elevate from there.
And all that came from the love of the country. Like, I'm going to tell you something about me. Right now, if this country have fight with Saudi Arabia, which is the holy country for Muslim, I have no fucking problem to go and fucking kill and shoot whatever to protect this country. Because I have something I don't want to lose in this country. I establish something. I establish name. I establish reputation. I establish fucking family, amazing family. My kids, Mustafa, I don't want to talk about him. he charged me a lot of money. He's fucking nerd genius. And every time I end up with an argument, he took all the money in my pocket. But my kids, each one of them, have his own life, have his own belief without anyone forcing him. My wife, she had her own car. I steal it today. And she driving the highway. I know some of you fucking laughing about it, but if she is fucking overseas, she will have hijab and sit in the fucking house. If she go anywhere, she have to have someone to escort her. So she driving the highway. She's in the college. She's in the group. Today she have party. This country build a new human being. So we have something we don't want to lose. And I think, like my brother Juan, 100% I agree. Like we have the foundation and we can extend it to make it as an umbrella.
There's another important point I want to make about, your wife. I can say his wife's name, Beta. If we were in Iraq and we started talking about someone else's wife, it'd be a problem. Even if it was just friendly,
You remember when we are in my cousin's house?
Yeah.
When we eat fish.
Right.
You remember?
Samach Maskoof.
Samach Maskoof, yeah. And do you see any woman with us?
No.
If he says, where's woman, I will kill you.
Right. You can't even talk about the wife. So, and this is an important thing because when we look at, and Iraq is a fairly Western place. I mean, yes, it's Arabic.
Compared to Afghanistan, yep.
Right. It's very advanced in those terms, and yet still women can't walk around unescorted, can't go covered.
See, this is weird.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you have time for that, but short fucking comment. In 1970, if you look at in YouTube, in Baghdad, in Afghanistan, in Egypt, female, they have fucking bikini.
Mm-hmm.
After 1990, after 2000, thing goes down.
Yeah.
And it looked like most of the community became uneducated, and it's uneducated in extreme religious way. And this is like, I have the explanation, but it's take long conversation for that. But still the point is, small things, we have it in our life here in the United States, we don't feel it. Like if you wake up in the morning, no one can kill you.
Yeah.
There's no checkpoint to take your money from your pocket. You know what I mean?
Right.
No one asks you if you are Muslim, Sunnah, Shia, Christian. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one want to find anything or corrupt police. It's huge things, small things, but this is why this country is fucking amazing. So.
Well, what would you know? What about you, Juan, when you look at this, and I don't know how long your family has been here, but everybody's basically an immigrant in this country. You've been around the world. You've seen what really is hardship. What are your thoughts on, are we getting this right or are we getting worse as a country?
I'm going to tell you that I take that immigrant mentality, and while people are pondering if it's getting better or worse, I'm laughing, man, and I'm going in the fast lane on the highway. I'm not bickering. I'm not worried. I'm not saying, I'm being oppressed right now, or I'm so free and I'm living. I'm just working. This country, the Constitution, everything's given me the ingredients that I need to become successful. So I'm not gonna sit back, reflect, spend time, and
stress myself out.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to boo-hoo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to keep doing me, and I'm going to keep working forward because I know that I'm in an environment that it's capable. If you look at the three of us here, you're white, I'm Mexican, Johnny's Iraqi.
Yeah.
How much time do you think we spent deciding, is this something that we should do? We've got three of us. We've got three different. Is that right?
Yeah.
No, man. We're just doing our thing and we're not worried about it.
Wait, so you mean to say that when a firefight jumps out, you don't think there's someone of this color? Great. I get to kill them?
Right. I take that political correctness Band-Aid, rip that sucker right off, and I throw it away. I ain't got time for that.
Yeah.
Because he tried to reach to the quality.
Yeah.
Quality as a human, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think, I know your concern, like my concern has concern, all of us, about this country, politics, bullshit. Mm-hmm. But trust me, it looks like this country, this is how I can describe it. It's big, giant things, and there is some bullshit things on the left leg or right leg. It's going to go away.
Mm-hmm.
Because the big machine, people, they have something they don't want to lose. If he's black, if he's white, if he's yellow, if he's Muslim, if he's Christian. I told you, like back in Iraq, I have nothing fucking to lose.
Yeah.
I will not fucking fight for my leader or for my God, for anyone. Now I have fucking something, I will fight for it. Mm-hmm. So I think most of the people over here, they don't want to lose
what they have. Maybe they cannot be, they'll do some stupid things, but end of the day, there's one thing. They want to wake up in the morning and they want to wake up in the United States.
What do you think?
Exactly right. So, caveating off of what Johnny said, I'm going to focus on the things that I could control, right? So, being a good person, treating others the way I would like to be treating.
Thank you.
We've been preached that since kindergarten, but we don't know how to act that. Yeah. So that's the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lead by example. And I'm going to get myself to a position where other people could look at and respect and want to emulate and be like me. And those people that I'm talking about are my children.
Yeah.
So I'm focused on my family. I'm focused on the lives that I need to influence. And then I'm going to treat people with respect. And it's that simple. And every time we try to make it something more complicated than that, just stop.
So you start with yourself.
Start with
yourself.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation the other day on Facebook, and not to win the world, but just to, inject the ideas of these things. Because a friend of mine was struggling with some kind of a political-based question, and I said, this country is remarkable because you can literally outwork, almost everybody can literally outwork their problems. And someone said, well, what if someone's standing on your bootstraps? Again, you can outwork that problem. You don't mean have to have bootstraps. You're like, step one, start working hard and go in this direction as fast and hard as you can until you have to change directions and just keep working. And someone's going to pick you up and go, hey, you're a hardworking motherfucker. Come on, let's go. And they're going to grab you and rocket you forward. I mean, I saw a story in 60 Minutes where there's a company that specializes in getting an analytical work for autistic folks. Because they can focus on these particular things. And I mean, these are people that have autism that in a lot of other ways are completely compromised, right? But here, like, you don't have to have a leg to have a job in this country, you know? There's one of your SF brothers doesn't have sight from something that happened in combat. He still served in the military, a blind Green Beret, right? So, I mean, I really believe that you can outwork most of your problems. Does it mean it works out for everybody? No, but for almost everybody, we can do this.
Pete, if you want to find some weakness in anything, name it, you will find it.
Yeah.
But soon you start focusing weakness of other people, this is not the right way to build community. You know what I mean? All of us, I mean, I have weakness. One, you, all of us. And we try to fix it. We will make mistake. We try to fix it. You know what I mean? But the thing is, we know we have a gift, which is this country. Compared to any country. I don't give a shit if you are Democrat or Republican or if you are Biden or Trump.
Yeah.
But compare your country to any country. This is the best country. 5 years, you get citizenship and you vote for whatever.
Yeah.
And it's important. You feel it, your voice is important. You know what I mean? Go to Arabic country. You stay, like UAE, you stay fucking 100 years, they will never give you citizenship.
Nope. Can't buy land.
I mean? Saudi Arabia. So, which one? Germany, Japan, China?
Yeah.
And which country better than this country now is 110? You drive a couple hours, you have snow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I want to give you the chance to ask Johnny or I any questions too.
Oh,
shit.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll come up through casual conversation, I think.
All right. Well, we're getting close to the end here. So let me ask you another question, Johnny. You've been a citizen for several years now, and pretty quick you will have been an American in America longer than like when you were an alien.
Before we talk about citizenship,
yeah,
can we go back before my citizenship?
Yeah.
One day.
Whatever you want. Yeah, one day before.
One night.
Okay.
No.
And can he answer? This is my question to him.
Yeah.
So one night before the citizenship, me, him, Brian, and most of the South guys and SEALs, we went and we drink like it looked like there is no tomorrow.
Of course.
We were celebrating, Johnny.
Yeah.
There's certain words that we like.
We are the best
Celebrating.
by finding an excuse to get the drawing.
Yeah.
Next day, I look at Juan. Juan, he just want to sleep. He's so tired.
Did you go to the ceremony?
I did.
Oh, okay. I was there too. Yeah.
So let me interject. For every American out there, that is something that you need to do. Yeah. You need to go to a citizenship ceremony, and that's a good measuring stick for how is our country doing? Are people doing what Johnny did? Are people going through all these extreme circumstances in order to get to this country, and then watch the look on their face as they raise their hands and they swear an oath to this country and they get their citizenship. It's something truly remarkable that everybody should experience.
And it happens all the time throughout the nation. And I don't know how it was for you, but as they all repeated that oath, and there's some heavy stuff in that oath, like, I will, if asked, and it's legal, I will go and I will fight for this country. These are people that 2 minutes before were the citizens of another country.
It's not only something you can repeat it. It's something you believe it.
Yeah. Well, and you can feel it.
You feel it inside you. Like me and my daughter, I don't want to cry.
Yeah.
I kill fucking people. I don't cry. I cried. I look at my daughter, I cried. I have no idea why. And it's one of the things I think in that day is not Johnny Walker citizenship. It's each one of them citizenship. And I can tell inside each one of them is big proud and big honor to be in this country. And none of them think about himself, just think about something else. And this is what this country built on, to give, not to take. You know what I mean? So it's crazy.
Yeah, so
tequila is not good.
I like
tequila is good for everybody. Like I said, our culture didn't just end at the border. So we brought some of that goodness here to the States. But that's a good measuring stick. So when these citizenship ceremonies stop, when the numbers dwindle, we need to start looking out and say, what the heck did we do that people are not beating down our doors to come in?
Yeah. When they read Johnny Walker's name out loud, the second loudest cheer, all the Mexicans, of course, there was a singing of it. But there was one family, and there was, you remember, it was this enormous outsized roar, and we were all so proud, and as a guy that, I don't know if you had a chance to work with him at all, but as a guy that was ready for the news any day that you were going to be dead, and yet you just kept coming back like a cat with 5,000 lives. You just kept coming back, and it was like a really big milestone when you had that, and I was so honored to be invited and to see that. And it's such a great representation, not only of you, but of our country,
For everyone.
Yeah.
And like I told you, in that ceremony, there's people different from everywhere.
Yeah.
And all of them, you will see tears and happiness. It looks like, hey, I'm not going to struggle anymore.
Yeah.
I'm American now, you know what I mean? I mean, for me, it's like I live the American dream with you, through you guys. Or since I watched the cowboy movie, listen to country music. But still, when I take the documents, it looks like now I can go to any fucking country, including Iraq.
Yeah.
Any country. If someone can say anything, he will deal with my country, United States of America. This is fucking powerful. So
It is. And I'm glad you're an American. And when you think about the whole immigration thing, we love immigrants here. Some people think somehow that we don't love immigrants in America, but we do.
People, they think a lot about American.
Yeah.
But the loser.
Well, the winner in me says that I love that you're an American, that you're here. I love it that you're on our team.
Like he said, look at us, white, Christian maybe, I don't know, Mexican, Christian maybe, brown, Iraqi, Muslim maybe. And we sit and we have a brother band between us.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And this is what the country built.
Yeah.
It's not built in religious or color. It's built about the quality of the human inside you. No more, no less. I mean,
Yep.
you ask him about dangerous things. Every fucking mission, he didn't mention that. He gonna die and he will never show his kids and fucking his wife.
Yeah.
Why he accept the sacrifice? This is not car deal. This is not politic deal. This is your life deal. Because of the love of this country and the belief he is doing the right things. Because if you compare his business, your business, my business, when we are accept the idea to die, there is no money compared to that. So the quality inside us make us who we are. And no matter what's your religion, what's your color, no one give a shit.
How do folks find you if they want to get trained up and get better at defending themselves and being prepared?
So I'm on social media on Facebook and Instagram, Quiet Pro Tactical, and then quietprotactical.com. Just go on there and send me a message, and then we'll get back to you.
And I will put all that stuff in the show notes. Quiet Pro Tactical, Juan Mata. Hey, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah,
man.
thanks for having us.
Thank you. You know I love you. I never get enough of J-Dubs.